Hi, this is Suraj, your host, Unleashing Talent, and welcome back to another podcast. And today, we are going to talk about how you could become a great coach and how you, as a leader, can become inspirational by learning to coach and by coaching your people. Today, in this podcast, we will talk about what coaching is and the benefits of coaching and how you as a leader can become great coach. We would also talk about how coaching can be used as a performance tool. First of all, we have to understand what coaching is, and I'm sure all of you have fair understanding of what coaching is, a general understanding, and all of us know it, and we do coaching in one form or the other. Many times people get the opportunity for coaching and they do it. Many times it works, many times it does not work. Many times the leader feels the coaching is working, maybe the individual is not having the same feeling. So there are questions. How do you know that your coaching style is the most suitable style for the individual? Do you ask individual if individual is satisfied with your coaching style? How do you measure your coaching results? How do you understand that the individual has a positive impact on his or her behavior and it is because of your coaching? I'm sure you would agree that many of us coach the way we want and we have all the right motive and intention to coach people, to grow people, to help people advance in their career, and we do our best. And we have a feeling, many of us feel that we have brought out the best of the best results. And I absolutely agree with you. We all have coached in our lives and we have seen the great results. I am sure if I ask you to recall one of your leaders whom you feel was a great coach to you, I'm sure you will recall that the leader ignited the talent in you, unleashed the potential that you had. Coaching basically is partnering for performance. It is to help people with thought-provoking and very creative processes through which you inspire people to maximize their personal and professional potential. And this definition has a root in the definition given by the International Federation of Coaching. In brief, the idea is your ability as a leader to unleash talent and unlock potential. And imagine when you do that, you would be happy, the individual is going to be happy, your engagement is going to be high, and your business results are going to be high. And that's the kind of power of coaching. If you're not a coach, remember, you cannot be a leader. If you want to be a leader, you have to be a coach. When you coach people, people get ignited, they unleash their talent, and you inspire them, and you become inspirational leader. And people remember you for a long time for the difference that you make. So imagine an individual who is in a state of not able to do something, and his state of mind changes, and he or she starts feeling that he or she can really make a difference. It is a paradigm shift for an individual. It is a life-changing experience and exposure for an individual when coaching is really done in a way it should be done. It is igniting the talent. It is clearing the path. It is removing the bottlenecks. It is removing the speed breakers. It is bringing people back into the performance zone. It is building confidence in people. It is about building a resilience in people. And to do that, you need the right mindset and you need the right skill set. Remember, you cannot just do coaching the way you've been doing. And I understand and agree that you have been impactful. Coaching will happen whether you want it or you do not want it. It is Coaching exists in the human capital ecosystem in one form or the other, but it exists in an informal and non-formal circumstances, and that's not what you do in an organization. An organization requires leaders to know what coaching is. An organization requires leaders to be great coaches and unleash organizational potential through unleashing the potential of its people. Coaching has a power to increase your business performance. There are three areas that are extremely important in my mind. Number one is improving the business performance. Let me give you a scenario. You are given the task to improve organizational performance by 20-30%, and you have the same set of people and you don't have additional budget to train people. If you apply coaching as a culture, it is absolutely possible to increase the performance of the organization by 20-30%. And how is that possible is something that we are going to talk about. If 25% or 30% of the employees improve their performance through coaching, you can imagine the business performance and its impact on the revenue and the profit. Number two, imagine a scenario where you have 30% people disengaged or actively disengaged. Number three, you need leaders to run your business. You need future leaders. And how often you will go out and hire business leaders and you would pay the cost for transition and enculturation for those leaders. If your internal fill rate for the leaders is at 30% and you improve that by 100% and you make it 60%, from 30% to 60% is a 100% jump. And if you are able to do that over the next 2 years for the strategic positions, how much profit you get to the organization. Now, let me give you an example to substantiate this discussion further. Now, you have someone working under you, and person has a task, and his task is to improve the business performance by 20%. It could be your customer satisfaction, it could be your revenue, or it could be your profitability. The individual is working on a task with the goal to improve the productivity and proficiency and efficiency by 20%. And you are the leader. You have to coach that individual. What is it that you would do? Do you think it's possible? Of course it is possible. If you are able to decipher and understand where the individual is struggling, where the individual needs help, and how would you help that individual, and if you're able to do the right coaching, the individual would achieve 20% growth in his, and the individual would increase the performance by 20%, and then you can claim to be a great coach. Now, how is that possible? It is, of course, possible, and we would continue to talk about it. It is something like you cannot have a seed thrown on the road and you expect it to turn into a tree or a plant. It's not possible. Talent needs nurturing. If you want your talent to blossom, to give the fruits, to really make a difference, you need to nurture talent, and coaching is one of the ways you nurture talent for optimal performance. Remember, as a leader, you have a role. You may be thinking you are a great leader and you're doing everything, and I of course agree with you, but that's not enough. If you analyze and evaluate the power of coaching, you will realize that you are operating much below your capacity and your capability to do coaching for your people and improve their performance and engagement. It is about unleashing talent and unlocking potential, transitioning individual to a zone which is a performance zone. So imagine an individual is working on a task and is struggling. What is the end of that? Eventually, you would start believing that the individual is not capable. And the individual would start believing that the individual is not capable. And the organization will start understanding that the individual is not coming up to the performance. And then eventually, the individual would leave as a failure. While it is the failure on the part of the organization, it is the failure on the part of the leader. So, you as a leader have a role to play. It is your ethical responsibility to understand the coaching need and train people through coaching skills. It is your moral responsibility. Else, you would blame the individual all your life. The individual will probably blame you, and if not, the individual will blame himself or understand himself or herself and might change the career track. So you have to understand the different dimensions and aspects of the human psychology and the impact of coaching. One of the models that is very, very famous on coaching is a GROW model, and you could Google this. I'm not going to talk much about it, but it is basically about setting the goals and understanding the aspirations and understanding the current state and the current situation of the individual, the task that the individual is working, and understanding the internal and external obstacles, and then understanding what are different possibilities for the individual. The power of coaching is immense, and then understanding the possibilities and strengths and the resources, and these three things together can really ignite the talent. Remember, it is igniting the talent. The talent does exist, is your belief as a leader, and then taking certain actions together in partnership and setting accountability and responsibility, and then reviewing the performance together and targeting for 3 to 6 months of business results for whatever your goals are. Next discussion is about how to coach, and these are generic kind of hygiene factors, but of course very important for leaders to understand. It is extremely important for you to know who the coachee is, who the individual is, what strengths individual has, and what are the areas of improvement, and what is the task that the individual is working. Make it the need based in context, extremely important, and be absolutely ethical in your dealing. Make it coachee based rather than the coach based. Base your entire coaching process around the individual, not around you as a coach. That's extremely important. Also, understand the learning style of the individual and your coaching style. Remember, if there is a style mismatch, it's not going to work. If your dominant style is delegation, then you're likely to delegate. And if the individual is working on a task, an individual requires your direction. So while the individual requires direction, you are delegating. Mismatch. When the individual requires you to support and pat and let him do things, you start directing. In both the situation, you fail as a leader, you fail as a coach. So that's a kind of trap. You don't have to do that. Understand the learning style and your leadership style, and understand the task that the individual is working. Coach in context. Understand the context. What is it that you want to accomplish? Do preparation. That's extremely important and always important. In a scheduled meeting in advance, inform prior, have a quick discussion. These are some of the things that are really helpful. Do proper communications. Use questioning skills, listening skills, leading questions, explanatory questions, and so on and so forth. Use your communication skills to suit the best, and set up a development plan, goal, and how both of you would like to measure it. If you genuinely want to do it, these are some of the hygiene factors, and these are some of the stepping stones towards building yourself as a great leader who's a coach. Understand the psychological aspect of coaching, extremely important. You are responsible for developing the self-esteem of the individual, developing the growth mindset, enhancing the performance of the individual, and having a long term association with that individual in terms of your relationship. You know, through coaching, you inspire, you spark, you ignite, so you build a relationship. So, absolutely important is the trust. Trust is the key factor. Confidentiality is also the key factor. Credibility is absolutely important. Remember, these are key aspects if you want to become a great coach. Next, towards the organization. As a leader, you have the responsibility to foster coaching as a culture wherever it is possible. Remember, we talked about you spending on one individual and igniting his talent and improving his performance by 20%. If you do as an organization for 20% of your population, that means 20% of your population will increase its performance by 20%, and that would have an impact on your profitability, on your revenue, on your business performance, and your future. That's the impact, and that's what I want you to understand in the organizational context, and the power of fostering coaching as a culture. And it, of course, has many other psychological and emotional benefits to the organization with respect to the engagement and performance and alignment and loyalty and whatnot. You should reward leaders who do great coaching, and you should have some kind of policy maybe in place. Reward great performance both by the individual and the leaders, and manage coaching as a kind of program that's important. You might like to add coaching as a value for your organization. One of the values could be coaching. Imagine if the coaching is one of your values, and if you really inculcate and develop that value and train people to coach, you will have long-term positive impact on the organization. So these are some of the elements of coaching that I thought I would discuss with you. Well, if you're not coaching, you're already losing people and you're already losing business. I'm sure you would agree with these 2 points, because if coaching can improve engagement and business results by 20-30% or even more, so if the coaching is not happening, you're actually losing people and you're losing business. Wish you good luck. Thanks a lot for your time. I hope this was helpful. Take what you want, ignore what you don't like. Keep learning, keep growing, keep inspiring. Good luck to you. Thanks a lot.